By the way, my little birds, my wife's little birds, are so excited I had to shut their door. They have their own little room now. So you'll hear them muffled in the background. But they're taken care of. They're just a little excited. Um, we're down to four of them. One of them keeled over last week, was supposedly an old one. So they do last a long time, and it's hard to tell how old they are. You just keep think they're going to keep going, but they don't. Okay, so let's look at the Dorian box here. We have a root shape. We're looking at it here. We'll pull up the drawing tool. Okay. We have a root shaped root chord, a D-shaped root here. So everybody knows what the D shape is. Here's my D-shaped B flat. Notice it's a whole step below C. Okay. So with your guitar, if you're playing an E, the D is going to be a whole step below that E. I can't find that today. Alright, so here is our D-shaped root here in the D box now. Okay, and E becomes the second in the key of E, where you are. E becomes the second there, and then C would be the second. C would be the second of what? B flat. Okay, that's why we have a B flat here. So we have what I call the Dorian box. Okay, so it's easy. So 2 is going to be the second minor. These are modal cages now. So it's going to be if we're talking about the key of C in cage, C, A, G, C, D, E, G, A. Okay? C is Ionian, D is Dorian, E is Phrygian, F is Lydian. Okay? C is Ionian, D is Dorian. It's 1, 3, 5. Okay? Rather 2, 2, 4, 6 right there. 2, 4, 6. Ionian is 1, 3, 5. That's our basic root chord. Dorian chord. The scale tone chord for the 1 in Dorian is actually 2, 4, 6 in its parent key, which is the key of C. Here's our 2, 4, 6 right there. 2, 4, and 6 right there. Okay, so there's our easy chord. So you can tell that you're going to start on 2. Magic note's going to be 4. When you get to the 4, finish out half the string shape, which is a long C4 right there. Okay, half the string shape, and then pick up 6. Easy chord, 2, 4, 6. Pick up the 6, but I have an easier way to do that. Okay, and that works on all of them. We'll just look quickly at the easy chord for Phrygian, which would be 3, 5, 7. Here's your 3. Magic note is 5. At the 5, here's 3, 5, 7 right here. Okay, so here's your 3. Finish out half the string shape. This is the cutout. Instead of going 5, 6, 7, which is your A string shape, 5, 6, 7 is defined as the A string shape. There's your 5, 6, 7, there's your A. Okay, we're going to do half of that string shape, cut out, and join into the 7 root 2. Well, I want to show you something. We'll just use the C right here, and this is what this is saying. Well, there might be room, yeah. Between the strings with the doubled note. Okay, so here's the doubled 7 in the Phrygian box. Okay, in the Dorian box you have a doubled 6. Okay, in the Ionian box we have a doubled 5. Okay, in the Lydian box we have a doubled root. Alright, so let's just look at this. Okay, so here in the Dorian box, let's say, we have a doubled 6. That presented a big problem for me. I didn't know what to do about it for years. And it just finally dawned on me, with all these other things going wrong in my life, which I can't get into, but I'm dealing with them, doing the right thing, you know. If you have a double note in a system that shares notes, okay, so if you have, we're looking at, say that, let's decide where we're at with the drawing tool, so we have to be somewhere. Let's look at the G box. We have a doubled what? A doubled 3 right there. Okay? So, in the old CAGEED system, where we have single doubled notes, what string shape ends in a 3 and begins with a 3 that are interlocked? So, that's all you have to know. Is root 2, 3 there? But now, so that's what tipped me off. But now we have to apply the CAGEED system. So we have root 2, 3. Okay, is one of the long string shapes. That's the bottom one of the root E, root 2, 3, E root 2, 3. We call it E root or root E. The one that shares the 3 is the C string shape. So here's your C string shape, 3, 4, 5. It shares the 3 with the root. The root's right here. Root 2, 3 shares the 3 with the 3, 4, 5. So when we get up to here's your double note 3. When we get up to do that 3, if we want, we can just play the long pattern root 2, 3 Ionian, and then continue on to 4, 5, 6 there. Or if we want the open string and we want the cage to be smaller, okay, and we don't want to go 4, 5, 6 out of the cage 7 root 2, because we can do that. Up here in my G box here, starting with an A, because A is the 6th of C. We got 6, 7 root. Okay, 2, 3, 4 for a D string shape. 5, 6, 7 for an A string shape. Root 2. Now I can go the long way, root 2, 3 for the E string shape, and then 4, 5, 6. Okay, right up here for the 4C long string shape. That's your Lydian string shape, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and then 7 root 2. Right there for that Locrian string shape. Okay, or we have a choice. When I hit the 3, just go to the cage that's linked to that 3. This is what I'm saying over here. This is what I'm saying over here in this particular box. Between the strings with the doubled note, okay, in the modal cages, or the G and the B strings, is where the double note's always going to be in between the G and the B strings. Okay, and I'll just bounce over here. Here's your fretboard. Here's E, A, D, G, B, E. Now it doesn't matter where I play it. I can play it starting on G. It's still the E string, but I'm playing G on the E string. It's still the A string. I'm playing C on that A string, etc. I just call them those strings, or I number them string 1 through string 6, string 1 being the lowest one down here. Okay, now I forgot what we were talking about. Let's go back over here and see where we're at. Oh yeah, we're reading this. Between the strings with the double note in the modal cages, or the G and B strings, there is a cage shared note advance. There's a cage shared note advance. In other words, let's look at root 2. Let's look at 2, 3, 4. Here's a cage advance 3, 4, 5. Okay, from 3, 4, 5, we have a cage advance 5, 6, 7. So it's cage advance. That's a cage advance because they're interlocked. The other types of advances are fourths or fifths. So let's look at 3, 4, 5, which is C. The fifth of C is G. Will advance on a fifth string shape, 5, 6, 7.